Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Franchise Pearson, and welcome again to my channel. It is Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, the 30th of 2025. I have 5:20 in the p.m. Let's say it together. Praise God from whom all blessings flow. May He continuous send the Holy Spirit to cover us as we plead the blood of Jesus, and also we ask for angels as we are one day closer to the coming, to thy coming. And we got to get up out of here. It's Noah time, baby. As it was in the days of Noah, that's what the good book says, so shall it be in the end time. And we are in the end time. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, I brought to you guys a video earlier titled, There is a Historical Muslim-U.S. Relationship that Spans to Jimmy Carter and the NWO. I want to go a little bit further because I smiled thinking today. I went out to do a few errands and I smiled to think, you know what? It would be wrong for me not to share with you guys my experiences, bits and pieces as to why I believe I was called and to do this work in the last days. God invested a lot in me over the decades. And I crack a joke every now and then to my friends on the phone, like, yeah, God's like, I didn't spend this kind of time with you, having you research and experience certain things for you not to share that in the end time. Because it's all about information, revelation, in hopes that you will accept the salvation of the sacrifice that our dear Lord did for us. Because no greater love, no greater gift than that when a man lays down his life. And that's what that's what Jesus did for us. So let me say this. When I was 17 years old, God showed me the downfall of America. You guys have seen the clips in 1975, my apartment in the condo that my mom owned, God bless her soul. In my room, I made the room red, white, and blue. Every different artifact you can think of, the parchment paper with Abraham Lincoln on it, the Liberty Bell, the red, white, and blue phone, you know, you dial like this and you hold this to your ears. I had all that. And I was celebrating the 200-year anniversary of America. Well, now it's 225, so we're talking we're talking 50 years ago I did this. I was 17, do the math. And I had been doing research for about 2 years at that point, believe it or not, about a transformation in relation to certain groups. And that is, you guys can Google it or buy some books on it, the Council on Foreign Relations and the Trilateral Commission. I'm gonna say it again. I had bumped into, or whatever you want to say it, two groups, international groups, the Council on Foreign Relations and the Trilateral Commission, where I was convinced from that information, these were the people who were heavily involved in secretly running the world. And it has been said then, and I'll just say allegedly now, that's how a peanut farmer from Georgia became president, and that was Jimmy Carter. That David Rockefeller, they got together and they put him out there, Mr. Born Again, under Christianity, and they pushed him and he became the president. And then to me, they ran the country. Jimmy Carter wasn't running the country. To me, these secret groups were doing it. Now, there have been a few times where there was supposed to be an NWO. Okay, Order, World, New. Okay, Order, World, New, backwards. Order, World, New, NWO. You know what I'm talking about. There was supposed to be an NWO. This has been tried biblically, and this has been tried in our time. Now, let me go back to a guy named Smedley Butler. Smedley Butler, Major General Smedley Butler. This is all documented. In fact, I should show you him. Smedley Butler, I'm going to be jumping around because I want to show you some things historically. Smedley Butler. This guy had been around the world fighting wars for America. The powers approached him because they wanted him to be a part of a coup over the president of the United States. I believe it was Roosevelt at the time. And so they went to him and they told him in so many words, they wanted him to lead X amount of thousands of troops to take over Washington, D.C. He played the game. They sent him to different parts of the world to learn military, arm control, to learn crowd control, all that. Not an American way of doing military work, but a fiendish way. I'm not gonna name the places because there are some certain things I can't say here, but you can do the research. Smedley Butler. So Smedley Butler traveled to different parts of the world, learning different things to bring those insights and those techniques back to America. When he came back, he was still playing the game, and eventually he went straight to Congress. And he had a hearing with Congress, telling Congress that there were a group of business people, international, who wanted him to take over the White House through the military. That's a true story. Rarely talked about. And I want to give you that brief history because you need to understand Washington, D.C. has always been a prize for these people. There have been people internationally, business-wise, who have always had a goal to take over America. And I believe they're doing it again. That's one reason I brought the video I did earlier, to let you know that what's going on in Minnesota, it's a big thing, you know, small thing. It's much bigger. You gotta watch the last video. It's a 40-something minute video. Be my guest, check it out, educate yourself. Now I wanna slowly get into that. There was also a guy back in the day from Louisiana, Congressman, Senator Huey Long. Senator Huey Long from Louisiana, check him out. He was unalived in the state capitol building. They say that the bullet is still in one of those pillars. You can read that story. Huey Long. You pull him up. Congressman Huey Long. And I'm not saying all these people was a bag of chips and all the best, but these people, they cared about, you know, the country. Here he is here. He was unalived. Louisiana Capitol. Very charismatic individual. He was about truth, justice, and the American way. It doesn't mean he was perfect. Didn't mean he didn't handle skeletons in the closet. I'm pointing out these people who, in my humble opinion, either tried to expose a takeover and live to write about it, or they died trying to expose it. Huey Long was running up against the group saying, I know big business and what they're doing to America, and I'm not gonna stand for it. And he was charismatic enough to evidently make a change, in my humble opinion, and they took him out. So that I wanted to tap, throw that out there. So yeah, when I was 17, there's a lot of knowledge I had in my head, people, believe it or not, because I lived in the library. And so when I got a hold of key books in relation to the Trilateral Commission and the Council on Foreign Relations, I was like, wow, we're gonna lose the country. And I went in the corner and I cried. I literally cried. I've told the story before. Now, fast forward. I wanna show you bit by bit. Let's start with this video. America has been chipped away at gradually over the decades. One of the things they did is that they took us off the gold standard. That was done by Tricky Dick Nixon and Watergate. I just throw that in there because he was a part of a Watergate scandal, whatever that means. You can do the research, but they call him Tricky Dick. President Richard Milhouse Nixon took America off the gold standard, and these guys are going to explain it to you. I want you to listen to this. This helped with our economic decline and inflation. Check this out.
gold or not?
No, we haven't been on gold for many years. It was in 1973 or 71, was it? Nixon suspended the gold standard, and we've never been back on it since then.
So our currency was actually backed by an actual gold.
The idea was that you could, for every dollar you printed, you had to put away a certain amount of gold. So what I was talking about before, after World War II, Europe is destroyed, America is still left stable. This is when America, they created what was known as the Bretton Woods Agreement. So essentially, America was like the dominant power in the world. We had the huge portion of the world's gold at this point. And so the deal that we came up with was essentially that other countries would peg their currency to the dollar, and we would peg the dollar to gold. So you were kind of on a dollar standard. You were kind of on a gold standard if you went on a dollar standard.
Got it.
And we set the price at $35 an ounce. So for every $35 we printed, we had to put away an ounce of gold. Okay, so this
Into Fort Knox?
Yeah, I think that's where it was supposed to be. Also, has not been audited, but I think that's where it was supposed to be.
Empty.
Now let me say this to you. I think it was Roosevelt also. If I err in the history, just put it in there and be nice. But I think it was just things that come to me. I think it was Roosevelt. They said they had a crisis and they needed some money. So they had the Americans of that day bring in all their gold. It was like a threat. And people brought in their gold. So let's say they brought in all their gold and the government gave them X amount of money per ounce. Well, guess what? In a short period of time, the value went up like whoosh. So technically, the Americans got ripped off. I want you to understand, like I told you guys before, without understanding history, you will beat up on the messenger because you think that we're against the country. No, we're not. We're actually for you. It's just that we're telling you history which isn't discussed enough, especially in the media. I was a part of the media. I know what they omit. So again, I believe it was Roosevelt, don't quote me, but a president of the United States, I think it was during the Depression, he said, bring in all your gold. And they passed the law, people, or you got arrested. It was just that deep, and they brought it in. Put in the comment section, do your research, and people basically, in my humble opinion, got ripped off. This was the slow, see, when God showed me, I can't explain other than that I had read a lot. And when I came to grips with it, I couldn't see from A to Z how the country was going to go down. God just showed me. He said, he took me in spirit realm. And he said, we're going to lose your country, Pearson. And I felt it. 17 in the corner crying about a country? That was me. God has had me on a journey about this thing for a long time. Now, let's break this thing down. This is the video I brought to you guys earlier. There is a historical Muslim-U.S. relations that spans Jimmy Carter, NWO. That's the video I brought you guys earlier. You can watch it in bits and pieces. I'm sure there's something there you can grow from. Now, one of the things I talked about is that Somali Muslims and Saudi Arabian Muslims are very close due to their shared Sunni Islam and deep historical cultural ties through the Arabian Peninsula, with significant Islam influence, shared pilgrimage, and linguistics. The bottom line is that there is a big Somalian population, as you know, in Minnesota. And I said my theory is because America has had at least a 50-year relationship with Saudi Arabia, and the relationship is this, and I'm going to show you. They buy our bonds, we buy their oil, and basically what they're doing, they're buying our debt. There are other countries that buy our debt too, China, Japan. This helped keep us afloat. Now, you got to remember, I just showed you, the guy said it was in 1973 we got off the gold standard. The President of the United States took us off of that. In 1974, The very next year, we go to Saudi Arabia. Hey, y'all blinging like that. Y'all got all that oil. We need you to use that to back the dollar in so many words. Think about, because they call it the petrodollar. Understand, if your professor is not connecting this, I'm not disrespecting it, but take them, go do the research if you're in college. And say, and show them it. Show it to them. We left the gold standard and liquid oil became gold. Do you feel me? What did the guy say? For every time we put away X amount of ounces of gold, we had to have X amount of money to back it. That way you always have stability, okay? Well, it's a lot of instability now because we don't own that much gold. I've done videos on it which don't get a lot of views, and this one probably won't either because money's boring to some people. But currency is it. That's the lifeblood of the country. But you got countries hand over fist been buying gold and silver like nobody's business the last 20 years. In fact, they can't even mine enough gold and silver to keep up with the demand. I've done videos on that the last couple months. It's right in our face. It's the transition. If your worth is in oil and money and you tinkering with it, your wealth goes down as a country. That's the WAR. Forget about this Venezuela thing. The way they telling you, that's why I told y'all, it's about their resources. They got oil. And the thing about it, what America did is that Joe Biden, in fact, I'll get to it. Just hold tight. Let me read this to you. The core of the petrodollar, that's what we're on now. The core of the petrodollar system established in 1974, U.S.-Saudi deal was exactly that. Saudi Arabia would price its oil in U.S. dollars and invest its massive oil revenues in U.S. treasuries, bonds. In other words, they bought our debt in exchange for American military security and aid, creating a strong, stable demand for dollars and benefiting U.S. borrowing. Okay? So in 1974, this was established, like I said, after we got off the gold standard. Then in 2024, under Joe Biden, 50 years later, stopped it. I'm going to read this to you next. Saudi Arabia buys a significant amount of U.S. bonds, often ranking in the top foreign holders, but it's a fluctuating percentage of total U.S. debt. Recent data from 2024 and 2025 shows holdings around $130 to $140 billion, representing roughly 1 to 1.5% of all foreign holdings in U.S. securities, okay? Now, other countries that buy our bonds, are China and Japan, have significantly reduced their holdings as well. People starting to buy gold and silver. They got to go back to stability. It's a race. Now, what I put in, Henry Kissinger and Saudi Arabia signed a significant economic and military cooperation pact, often linked to the petrodollar system, on June 8th, 1974. Read it and weep. It is right there. In 1974. This was done. Now let me find out. Let me get my dates right. When did Jimmy Carter take office?
Jimmy Carter took office as the 39th President of the United States on January 20th, 1977.
Okay.
This is from...
Was Henry Kissinger the ambassador under Jimmy Carter? If not, Zygmunt.
Here's what I found.
And if he wasn't, it was Zygmunt Brzezinski. Henry Kissinger was a part of Jimmy Carter's administration?
Henry Kissinger was not a part of Jimmy Carter's administration. He served as National Security Advisor and Secretary of State under President Richard Nixon, and continued as Secretary of State under Nixon's successor Gerald Ford. This is from an academic...
So it was Zygmunt Brzezinski, I'm sure. Let me see. Was Zygmunt Brzezinski the Secretary of State under Jimmy Carter?
Zbigniew Brzezinski was named as the National Security Advisor and Cyrus Vance as Secretary of State by Jimmy Carter. This answer is from Millicent Doyle.
Foreigners in the house. You had foreigners next to the President of the United States. In my humble opinion, set up by David Rockefeller. He was the architect of the Trilateral Commission. It's deep, y'all. It would take me hours to go into this, but just put in Trilateral Commission and read books on the Trilateral Commission and Jimmy Carter. You'll see. So I've been making mistakes, and it was Henry Kissinger and Jimmy Carter. But Jimmy Carter came after it was already established, and he continued it under Zbigniew Brzezinski. But it was Henry Kissinger who started it off. If you want to find out all this here, you get this book here by Barry Goldwater. With no apologies, read this book, and you'll see about the Council on Foreign Relations and Jimmy Carter. He basically poured his heart out and cried like a baby when he wrote this book about how the country was being sold down the river, because it was another phase of the NWO, which, like I just said, I believe this Somalia theme in Minnesota is. There's a relationship between America and certain countries in the world that they don't want you to know about, and the relationship is so beautiful. You watch my back, I'll watch yours, and we thinking, man, why are they having this alleged waste, fraud, and abuse? Because they have international relationships where everybody helps each other. Because it's really not America anymore. We're a corporation. Now, let me read this to you. Here's one thing that came out. It says President Biden did not dissolve a contract with Saudi Arabia for buying bonds. Reports circulating in mid-2024 claimed that a 50-year petroleum agreement, which allegedly requires Saudi Arabia to sell oil, US dollars, and reinvest surplus revenues, had expired June 9, 2024. But then you Google it another way. When did Saudi Arabia begin buying our bonds? And here it is, right there at the top. When did Saudi Arabia start buying our bonds? Now, here's your answer. Saudi Arabia began buying U.S. bonds in earnest in 1974, following secret deals brokered by Henry Kissinger and Treasury Secretary William E. Simon. Secret deals by who? See that name, William E. Simon? See that right there, William E. Simon? Read it again. Saudi Arabia began buying U.S. bonds in earnest in 1974, following secret deals brokered by Henry Kissinger and Treasury Secretary William E. Simon, solidifying a pact where the U.S. offered military aid for oil sold in dollars, with Saudi petrodollars recycled into U.S. Snapshot and read it. It's right there. What they did. Everything's right there. Just snapshot it when I get done and read this. And I already told you it was William E. Simon, right? Oh, Pearson, you a fake. You just reading this. You just reading this. Hello. I've had this book since 1980. Whose name is that? William E. Simon. I got a vast amount of history. Some I forget, but I did my homework overnight. I told you I stayed up to 3 o'clock last night because I was going to prepare these videos because I want y'all to know. Here's the guy who helped Henry Kissinger set up the deal in Saudi Arabia, Muslims. William E. Simon. Now, either I'm a lie or Google's a lie. Because there's his name right there. William E. Simon. Henry Kissinger. They helped set the whole thing up. In exchange for what? Military. We would protect them and their oil. They would buy our debt through bonds, and we would buy their oil. And then he wrote books. I guess he said, you know what? Man, I got to solve this. So he wrote this afterwards. 6 years later, he wrote a book about parts of the economics of America. Like, we got to rescue America. Yeah, after the bad policies you helped pass. But I guess the good thing about it is that it stabilizes us. But we should have never got off the gold standard. That's the point. That's the point. Check out William E. Simon. Now I want you to see something. June 8th, 1974. June 8th, 1974, right? Versus June 9th, 2024. Now what is that? June 8th, 1974, that's when we set up the relationship with Saudi Arabia. And June 9th, 2024, we got out of the relationship. The difference is 600 years. 600 years. Now let's bring it up today. Let's bring it all the way up today with our president. You go from 6/8/2024, look at that. 6/8/2024, under Biden, they stopped the relationship where Saudi Arabia had to buy our bonds. November 20th of 2024 is Joe Biden's birthday because it happened under his administration. The difference is 165 days. What is the 165th day of the year? That's June 14th. That's Trump's birthday. I know, right? I tell ya, it's something else, man. And like I said, you want to know more about the oil? Go to YouTube and type in Lindsey Williams online and watch this video right here. This video right here, watch that, about oil. Former chaplain to all the oil oligarchs back in the day. Now, didn't Trump go to Saudi Arabia? He had a delegation with him, didn't he? Trump went to Saudi Arabia, right? Okay, now, let me give you this here. He had Marco Rubio with him, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, Jensen Huang, Andy Jassy, Google, Boeing, Blackstone, and Black, ROCK. All these tech people went with Trump. Why would Trump now go to Saudi Arabia? Because everything is going tech. They're going into the golden age. The golden age is what Egyptian used to be. It's going to be free energy, baby. Now, Trump started a thing back in the day on January 21st called Operation Stargate. Remember that? I did a few videos on that. Operation Stargate, he announced it on when? January 21st, the day after he got inaugurated. Trump brought that in. And guess what? Some of the same people that went to Saudi Arabia was at the January 21st meeting, the first day Trump was in office. Because tech is the new move. Trump visited Saudi Arabia May 13th and the 14th. May 13th and 14th, Trump went to Saudi Arabia. If you take these two dates, January 21st, 2025, Operation Stargate, White House, all the tech people. May 13th, 2025, some of the same tech people, including Elon Musk, went to Saudi Arabia. The difference is 322 Skull and Bones. And it's called Operation Stargate, and I did a few videos on that. Stargate is the Egyptian thing back in the day. It's so detailed, not gonna get into it now. I hope you understand what has happened. They've been trying to bring it on this one world system. They're gonna finally get it. I believe Christ is coming soon. They're gonna finally get it. And that's what I'm dealing with now. That's what I believe I'm here. Because God showed me the demise of America. We want the country to stand, but at some point it's going to implode because Satan wants to be like the Most High. America is a whore, and she has sold out to other countries to move forward to get the one world system done. I hope you enjoy it. God bless. Hope you enjoy the presentation. God bless.